just wanted to talk to you today about how I just bought a duplex at 20 years old, and kind of how I did that, and what some of the things that I did to do that. How did I afford it? Where did I find the deal? Talk about financing a little bit, all that kind of stuff. Because I think I want to share my experience with you guys, so that way you can do the same things as me, and emulate kind of what I'm doing, because I want to share this cool thing that is a rental property real estate investing, and how to grow all the money you earn and put it to work for you. So first off, going into the deal, basically why I chose a rental property, or why I chose rental properties. So I have a really pretty good job right now, and and I make a good amount of money, and I wanted something that was going to be passive. There's lots of different things you can do in real estate. You can do wholesaling, flipping, being a realtor, anything like that. There's things that you can do that are more like an active role in the industry, but that really wasn't what I'm looking for. I was looking for a passive, a much more passive investment opportunity than as opposed to like a job, kind of thing. So that's why I chose rental properties. Now, I've been in the market looking for a rental property for probably the past year and a half, and just been getting listings through the MLS, and partnered with some real estate agents, and to get deals and things like that. I've gone and looked at a lot of properties before this one, and this one is actually in my hometown, Smithville, Missouri, and it was well listed, well under market price, and I'll tell you about why that is in a second. But it was just the right one. I just had a good feeling about it. I actually knew the guy that owned it, talked to him a little bit about it, and went ahead and pulled the trigger. You may be wondering, why a duplex? What was my thought process behind this? And what was I doing there? So I wanted to get a duplex to a fourplex so I could house hack it, right? So what is house hacking? House hacking is basically where I live in one of the units and rent out the other unit, and then the other tenant or tenants basically pay the mortgage and cover all my expenses. So I can essentially live for free in this property, because you have to have some place to put your head at night. Why not live in a place for free if you can? So this duplex worked great. The cash flow is such that I can do that, and that's why this is my first property, so I was able to get some good financing on it and stuff like that, and I'll tell you about that in a second. But that's definitely a really good option, especially me starting out. I do have a girlfriend, but she doesn't live with me, and I don't really have any kids or anything like that. And I'm actually gonna get a tenant. There's a tenant in the other unit in the other side of the duplex, and there's also, I plan on having some roommates, which will help offset the cost of ownership and things like that. So it'll not only I'll have a place to live, but it'll also pay me a little bit as well. And then when I want to move out, I'll just put another tenant where I was living, and that'll be a very high cash flowing, low maintenance rental property that will make me money every single month, while it appreciates and gains more in equity and value. So what did I do to get this property? So basically I just saved up a lot of money. Now, there's a common misconception that you have to save a lot, you have to have a lot of money to get into real estate. That's really it's not true. If you want to get into single family real estate, especially you can do primary residence loans, where basically you live in the property for a period of time, or something like that, and you get really good financing. I mean, you can get like no money down, or very small amounts of money, like 5% down on a deal. So for example, my duplex cost $255,000, which is for this area, it's a fairly high-end duplex. But you could have gotten a property that's, for example, say you bought a house for $100,000 or $200,000 at 5% down. I mean, you're only looking at like a $5,000 to $10,000 down payment. I mean, that's less than most cars to own a property that can cash flow for you and start paying you on that money almost right out the gate. So you really don't need a lot of money. And right now, interest rates in 2020 are literally rock bottom. I mean, they're like giving you free money. So for example, I bought down some points, which is basically like I put some money up front to get a lower interest rate. So eventually I'll make money, because I'll save money on the payments over time. But I got a 2.875% interest rate on this duplex. And that's the rate of inflation is around 3%. So they're literally like almost paying you to take money and get a mortgage. And if you got a single family property and you have good credit and everything, you could probably get a lower rate than that on a single family property. Now, how did I qualify for a loan, and how did I get the mortgage in the first place, get pre-qualified? Because that's what you're going to do. Most often than not, you're not going to have enough money to buy an entire property in cash. And honestly, I wouldn't even recommend doing that, because it's a much better option to just finance your property. You get better cash flow, there's less liability. You can get into the game a lot faster and let that money start working for you as quickly as possible. So it happened to work out really well for me. So I've actually been in the labor force for about 2.5 years now. I started working right out of high school. I got a W-2 job, and so that actually helped me significantly. Now, one thing is that you need to have is proof of income, proof of work, and that's kind of difficult sometimes if you're in entrepreneurship or you're self-employed or something like that. It's difficult unless you have like tax returns or something like that over a couple of years that have shown that you're consistently making money. It can be difficult that you're making money. It's hard for the banks to give you a loan because they can't prove that you're making any money that you'll be able to pay them back, essentially. So the fact that I had a W-2 income, and I was pay stubs, and I had tax returns and everything from 2.5 years was very helpful in me qualifying for the loan for this property. Now, the other key component of that is you need to have pretty good credit. I mean, you don't have to have terrific credit, but what helped me is you need to at least have credit. So I'm pretty young, 20 years old. But I had the foresight to know that this was what I was going to do 18 months ago, and I actually got myself a credit card and started building credit, just like a secure card with like $500 limit or $1,000 limit, and just paying it. I'd buy like, I don't know, $30 or $100 worth of stuff on that card, every month, and just pay it off. Just build your score, build your positive payment history, and then now I have like a score in the mid 700s. Because of just having that card open. So that also helped me qualify for a mortgage. So yeah, that's how I got it financed. I put 20% down on the property. The property cost me, I got the deal for $255,000, and I put 20% down. So that would be $51,000 in the equity that would go straight into the equity of the house. Plus, there's probably about five-ish thousand in closing costs, including the inspections, appraisal, the closing of the loan and everything. And I also bought about $5,000 worth of mortgage points. Now, what a point is basically just a percentage point off of your loan. And how that works is I put like $5,000 about right up front when I closed on the deal to lock in a 2.875% interest rate, which is pretty much the lowest. I mean, that's like the bottom, of possible interest rates. You really just can't get much lower than that, because most of these companies, the mortgage companies, want to make at least 2.75% on their money, so you really won't go any lower than that. The reason I did that, why I put all that money up front, is because in about 4 years or so, the lowered payment as a result of having a lower interest rate will start to pay off. So after 4 years, I'll recoup my $5,000, and it'll actually start being I'll be saving money every month on the lower payment for the remainder of my 30-year fixed rate mortgage. That's what I got, a 30-year fixed rate mortgage, 20% down, 2.875% interest rate on this duplex. So my payment will never change in regards to the actual loan itself. It may change with the insurance and the taxes, but probably not very much. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like the video, subscribe for more.